Jon Jones cleared of all charges. And miss this. He disses Daniel DC Cormier, the UFC light heavyweight champion, says he is as full of excuses and he is a weak man. Live from South Korea is the best MMA analyst on YouTube today, Tommy Rosenstein. And it is the Don Juan Banks. And we're going to get straight into the action per Yahoo Sports. Jon Jones cleared on traffic charges, donates $100 to charity. Former UFC light heavyweight champion Jon Jones was back in New Mexico court on Wednesday answering to a citation for driving without a license, no proof of registration, and no proof of insurance. The citation stemmed from a January 31st traffic stop where Jones was pulled over for driving 75 miles per hour and a 35-mile-per-hour zone in Albuquerque, although he could have been cited for reckless driving. Jones was not. Instead, he was able to appear on Wednesday to provide proof of his driver's license, registration, and insurance, and then agreed to make a $100 donation to the New Mexico Animal Humane Society. In agreeing to do so, Jones, who is currently on probation in New Mexico, will not receive any further penalties as long as he stays out of trouble for the next 90 days, according to a report by TMZ Sports. Now, the next thing we're going to get into, Razorstein, is what he said about Daniel Cormier, but we don't want to, put too much information in front of you and the fans. Let's talk about this right now. Jon Jones cleared of those citations. He was not charged with reckless driving. What's your opinion on that?
70 and a 35?
5. Mm-hmm.
That's not reckless driving? What is reckless driving? I mean, if you're reckless, you really don't care, right? That's what reckless is.
Yes, it is.
For other people's lives, you don't care, and you're, just being a total asshole, not thinking about anyone else besides yourself, and you're just having fun. You're going 70 and a 35? That's incredible. That's not even easy to do.
And Razorstein, when he was doing this 75, remember, because we talked about it when the news first broke, he didn't have a license, no proof of registration, no proof of insurance. He said he had a passport in New Mexico, Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Yeah, I know. That's another thing. He's like, well, I have my passport. Yeah, but you need a license. Oh, I do. Yeah, you do, asshole. He never ceases to amaze me. I mean, like, this isn't his first time he's ever done this, where he's crashed into a pregnant woman drunk or totaled his car before, drunk, and now he's driving reckless. He's always doing it. I mean, I was pretty wild and crazy when I was younger. I'm no saint. I'm not saying I'm perfect. And, I might have driven like a madman sometimes too, but, I don't have anything like a record like he does. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. And if you do make a mistake, at least learn from it once.
Crashed his 2012 Bentley, and he's on probation currently for a 3-car crash, his car included. Crashed into. One of the victims was a pregnant woman, broke her arm. He fled the scene. He came back, grabbed money, fled again, and then later turned himself into the police. Pleaded guilty, 72 separate appearances. 3 more appearances was added because of this incident. But people, they're cheering Jones. I've forgiven Jon Jones, but I don't forget. And Razorstein, you're a man who has a keen eye on Jones's behavior. Rashad Evans, and I want to inform you about this before we go into DC Daniel Cormier. Rashad Evans went on record, and I'm informing you about this, Razor Stein. He picks DC over Jones, saying that all of these situations, you know, the court, the crash, the cocaine, the drinking, he's saying that Jon Jones is going to lose this fight.
You know, Tyson wasn't right when he came back after prison. Jones, you know, I'm not saying he went to prison and fucking went through something like that, how Tyson did, but
That bitch, Desiree Washington, he didn't rape that bitch. He didn't rape. I mean, I don't know how you feel about it, but he didn't, man. Tyson did a lot of things, but he always said, if it's one thing I'm not, it's a rapist.
Yeah. You know, he did say this, though, when he got back there, like, Tyson, did you rape her? And he's like, no, I didn't rape her. But you know what? Looking back at it now, I wish I had raped her and her mother, too.
Oh!
And it was like, oh, my God. Tyson said the craziest shit of all time.
But yeah, Razor Side, take us through it, Jones. Take us, because you're the best MMA analyst on YouTube today. Jones is coming off the biggest controversy in his life. What is his mindset? What's going on? Is he going to be the same Jones?
I don't know. That's the thing, too, is I really had to start diving deeper and see if Jones has been mentally affected by this. Because remember when Brock Lesnar lost to Kane?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that, you know, stylistically, Brock Lesnar has the advantage a lot. I think he has a better wrestling, and he's not going to be pressed against the cage. Anyway, you know what I didn't factor in too much was the mental psyche. And I started diving deeper into the mental psyche of fighters. And it gets very difficult. It gets more and more difficult, you know, the mental psyche of fighters. But, man, is it important. This last fight, I was like, you know what? Conor McGregor is going to stop, you know, going side to side, stop going lateral, and he's going to go forward more, you know, talking shit, and he's going to be stuck into that mindset. And Diaz is really good, and like between the mindset and the psyche of it and the style of it, it all has to get factored into the equation of like who's going to win and who's going to lose in predicting fights. So if you have to make, you know, really difficult predictions on multiple aspects of an equation, many different aspects, just not like one part. Like it's really difficult to put all that into one equation and make a formula of it. Anyway, Jones, will he be able to deal with this? I got to see what his girlfriend or his wife, whoever she is to him, whoever that woman is to who Jones is. I don't even know, you know what I mean? Because he's always getting caught with other women and all sorts of shit. But anyway, I want to know what his family life's like. And if his family life's a complete and utter fucking mess and like they're about to take the kids and leave and she's about to, you know, that kind of shit, I have to know about that. Because that could be an issue. Because his life is fucking chaos, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It's constant fucking chaos.
Well, let's move it. We're going to move into the next topic on this video that everyone's talking about. Jon Jones slams Daniel DC Cormier for the latest excuse why he lost. Jon Jones, per Fox Sports, takes a swipe at Daniel DC Cormier after he registered a complaint about the referee from their last fight working the rematch, which was Herb Dean. And what this article is basically saying, Razorstein, is that there's little doubt that the disdain between Jon Jones and Daniel Cormier is ratcheting up to a whole new level just a few weeks out from their main event rematch at UFC 197. The latest dust-up involved the referee selection for their upcoming fight. After Cormier voiced concerns about Herb Dean appointment, Cormier explained to the Nevada State Athletic Commission on Wednesday that he had issues with Dean allowing Jones to stall the fight against the cage in the latter rounds without the fighters being separated due to a law in action. After news of Cormier's complaint landed online, Jon Jones took to Twitter immediately to take a swipe at the current UFC light heavyweight champion over the perceived excuse. Jon Jones on Twitter, excuse of the week. It's not that I wasn't man enough to get my back off the cage. Herb Dean allowed him to do it. Excuse of the week. It's not that I wasn't man enough to get my back off the cage. Herb Dean allowed him to do it, Jones wrote on Twitter. Jones defeated Cormier by unanimous decision in their first fight in January 2015 before the upcoming rematch was scheduled for UFC 197. Jones took exception to the complaint although Cormier is well within his rights to express concern about an official who is being assigned to work his fights. Several years ago, former UFC heavyweight champion Brock Lesnar filed a formal complaint to prevent referee Steve Mazzagatti from working his fights in the UFC. The commission allows fighters to voice their opinion, although they are not required to heed those warnings and actually make a change to the referee or judge assignment based on complaint. In Cormier's case, the commission had already signed Dean to work the fight, and while they registered his complaint on the record, the veteran referee, will still act as the third man in the cage when the light heavyweight title is on the line. Tommy Razorstein, once again, I'm going to repeat this so you can hear it with the fans of Enter the Arena. Daniel D.C. Cormier explained to the Nevada State Athletic Commission on Wednesday that he had issues with Herb Dean allowing Jon Jones to stall the fight against the cage in the latter rounds without the fighters being separated due to a law in action.
It wasn't like Jones was grabbing the fence and holding him against the fence, grabbing the fence. I think it's horseshit.
Wow, you're agreeing with Jones. You're saying he's making excuses. You're saying DC is a weak man.
Too many times I stick up for Jon Jones. Very, very rare.
Wow.
But I actually agree with Jones on this. Wow. Don, you know
this is
I said on the air when I'm like, you know what? I totally support Jon Jones on this.
Wow.
It's been since the beginning, maybe from the very, very, very beginning. I said it. You know, when he fought Stephan Bonner, maybe like that long ago, that I said those words. And the reason is this. So Jones presses him against the cage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And has him pressed against the cage in a dogfight.
Yes.
In a Greco-Roman clinch. And DC saying that Jones is stalling. Come on, dude. Like, he's pressing you against the cage, against a clinch, up in a clinch, in Greco-Roman clinch. And you're saying he's stalling? Like it's like going toe to toe with Anderson Silva and striking. You know, when Anderson Silva was in his prime, it's going into that person's best position. He's the wrestler. I mean, the Olympic wrestler.
Took fourth in the Olympics, beat Dan Henderson, took 10th.
Yeah, I mean, he took second in NCAA championship. He only lost to Cael Sanderson. So, you know, Cael Sanderson's a fucking absolute legend.
Yeah, 159-0.
Yeah, absolute legend. So, he has a problem with being pressed against the cage, and they're saying you're stalling. Dude, DC, that's your world, man. That's your world, and Herb Dean is a good ref. I mean, if it was Mazzagatti, I'd be like, okay, Mazzagatti is fucking bad.
He's a boy.
I mean, people get like kneed in the face, and they're out cold, getting punched in the face, and Mazzagatti runs over and the guy who's punching the person looks at Mazzagatti like, dude, I'm finished. I'm I've been waiting for you to say stop. I feel bad. The guy's unconscious. Okay. They walk away. They like choke people unconscious and then walk away. And Mazzagatti runs over. It's like, oh, I
Yeah.
wasn't paying attention. I could see if it was Mazzagatti, but Herb Dean's good, man.
You know
Herb Dean's
what, Ray?
good, and that's his position.
You know what, Razorstein? I have to agree with you 100%. Not only does Jon Jones get cleared of these charges, even though it could have been worse for him because Jon, it seems like you look in Jon's face and you hear Jon talk, and then the sympathy card comes into play. All right. And Jon Jones, he gets off easy every single time. And it happens. But it is what it is. DC looks weak. DC looks like he's complaining. DC looks like he's full of excuses, Razorstein. He came into his world. He outgrind the grinder. There's nothing you can say. Herb Dean is an excellent referee. This is a loss. This is a L for Daniel DC Cormier. This was not a good day. And the fans are booing Cormier. They're cheering Jones. DC is not the hero this time. He's not the favorite. People are cheering for Jon Jones. Now, me and you are realists, Razorstein. We know that that pregnant woman could have died. I mean, we have to take that serious. So we're not cheering Jones, but we're forgiving him for his past actions.
I ain't forgiving shit.
Whoa!
I just think that DC's bitching and Jones
Wow!
is right on this aspect. But for the other things, no, I don't give Jones any leeway. I
He's
just think I
bitching.
think stylistically, DC is wrong. But I ain't forgiving shit.
Razorstein on fire tonight from South Korea. I've forgiven Jones. I'm a more of a good cop, and Razorstein is the bad cop. I don't know, but listen, man. Jon, he's stronger. Jon is more determined. Jon has outgrinded the grinder. He's figured DC out. DC is coming with the same old game plan, the same old thing. And even though Jon hasn't been in the octagon for a year, he has been training. He has been sober. He has been off marijuana and drugs. And he is going to go through DC like a hot knife through Denny's pancakes, sausage, and eggs in the morning, and you're going to be looking at the new light heavyweight champion of the world once again, who was stripped of the title, Johnny Bones Jones. DC is not going to win this fight.
I
He's
agree with you
going to
there.
do the same thing. He's going to do. He does. He's not coming with anything new. DC is not a man that uses distance. DC doesn't do all that. He closes distance. He keeps it in a close fight. He outgrinds you. That is his game plan. What will he come with? That's new. He didn't show anything. Stein, the one thing I respect about you is your assessment of the Gustafsson fight. You did not like DC's performance.
No, I thought that he was allowing those takedowns against him. He shouldn't have been, you know, letting Gustafsson walk backwards. It was drawing his momentum. I don't like that at all. So I think he let those takedowns happen because of him chasing Gustafsson. So stylistically, I didn't like that.
And his striking, the stand up, it wasn't like DC was using his jab and he was doing some great boxing. It was more of just this wild hooks, and he relied on the dirty boxing, the clinch and the uppercut. And you just and what you had said when we had covered that fight was it was predictable. You were saying it's very predictable. It was one dimensional. You said this is not something to be proud of. DC's face was messed up. He was dropped. And you said if this is the DC that he's saying Gustafsson pushed him to his limit, you said this guy is going to get tore up by Jon Jones.
Yeah, totally. Now, Gustafsson, put on a hell of a fight against Jon Jones and almost beat Jones. And some people say he did beat Jones. And you could say, well, you know what? DC beat Gustafsson, yada, yada, yada. You match it up like that, and it evens itself out. I don't think so. Because that was the best Gustafsson we ever saw who fought Jones. I mean, after Gustafsson got hit by Anthony Johnson, I don't think he was right. It takes a long time to recover from, getting hit in the face like that, man. Jose Aldo said he'll fight Conor McGregor. But you know what? He ain't right. It takes a while to recover from a fucking, a knockout. It takes a while to recover from getting hit really, really fucking hard. And, it just does. Now, DC got hit, but wasn't a knockout. Still won the fight and recovered fast. Recovered during the fight. Is fine from that punch, I think. But, remember when Rashad Evans got fucking hit by Lyoto Machida, and I was like, dude, this is going to be
out. He was conscious, but out. Some people say, well, how can you be that? Remember he said he knew what was going on when he was knocked out? Well, he wasn't out. His body was immobilized. He couldn't move, but his eyes, he could see. That ain't that scary, Razor Stein, to be in to be paralyzed to be in a paralyzed situation where your eyes, imagine your eyes are open, you can't move your body, and you can see the lights, you can see people moving, but you can't move.
It's gotta be terrifying. It's gotta be.
That was one of the most devastating. Rashad's never, even though Rashad's accomplished a lot, I mean, even gave a good performance against Jones, it was not great. I mean, but he survived. He survived. He's never been the same. His chin's never been the same, though. When you connect, he does go down. He does drop.
Yeah.
It forces him to fight more conservatively because of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's just an example of one person. So, Gustafsson wasn't right after he got fucking hit by Anthony Johnson.
Wow, he wasn't.
That fucking punch from Anthony Johnson hit him so fucking hard. It took every single thing out of him. I mean, his whole body just went into this shutdown mode.
He felt like the Berlin Wall.
His spirit, kept going on, and he was trying to fight through it. And his willpower kept going. No, I think it kept going, but his body was shutting down.
Yeah, you're right, Razorstein.
You know what I mean? He was like, no, I want to keep going. If you're really fucking drunk out of your mind, and you're like, no, I'm fine, and you're walking down the street, and you're doing every single thing you can to walk, and your body's just shutting down. That's what it looked like.
Yes.
It looked like his will was there, but his body was just completely shutting down, and there was nothing he could do about it because his body was turning off and his will was still on. And after that, it just looked like his body was like, we're never taking a fucking punch like that ever again. For example, one of my friends was saying, when people who try to drown themselves and kill themselves, it's not easy for them to do because the body fucking, resists and fights and kicks. And that's how it's I see it with Gustafsson. After that fucking punch, I think, part of his body is you're never getting fucking hit that hard ever again, and we will shut off and turn off before you even, dream of even going that far into a fight. No more. And I think his body is just doesn't agree with his will and spirit to win a fight, but his body's just nope, won't do it. Fuck you. I'm never going through that shit ever again, asshole. And there's just, a disconnect between his psyche and his body.
You have summed that up correctly. Ladies and gentlemen, take the time to subscribe. It's going to be April 23rd, Las Vegas, Nevada, UFC 197, the rematch that everyone's been talking about, that everybody's been waiting for. It's going to be now. The UFC light heavyweight champion of the world, Daniel DC Cormier, defending that championship against pound for pound great coming back for the belt that he says that he never lost, Jon Jones. Take the time to subscribe to Razorstein Live. Tommy Razorstein has his own channel. He's doing big things over there. And, like the page, and we're bringing daily MMA and weekly boxing news. And we will check you out later. Peace.
Peace out.